Hello, my name's Sam Dotson. I'm 47 years old and I've been a truck driver for 20 years. I became a truck driver when I got out of the military in like 1998. I got out of the Navy and I was a boiler technician working in Dallas inside of boilers, hundreds of degrees, and we shipped these boilers off to other companies when they needed their boilers repaired. So a truck driver come in one time, and I thought it was cool, and I liked to drive, and I was just got out of the military, and I was used to going around and seeing the world, and he told me how much it paid, and I thought that's something I'd like to do. And I went to school to be a truck driver, and 20 years later, here I am. My driving accomplishments, one company, I got a certificate for 100,000 miles accident-free. I've got driver of the quarter through the years. These are different companies, of course. I've got driver pride award, which is picking up, delivering on time, no service failures, no late loads, no claims, and things of that sort. When I started driving, the hours of service were 10 hours of driving, 8 hours in the sleeper, and you could pause your day. We didn't have a 14-hour clock that we've got today with e-logs. It was all paper. And back when I started driving, there was no cell phones, no GPS. You had to use a atlas, and you had to know how to read it. You had to know how to find your towns, and you had to have directions, and you had to be able to read them and road signs and do what you had to do to get from point A to point B. With that being said, you never shut down. The only time you shut down was if they shut the roads down in front of you, like out in Wyoming, Interstate 80. They've got barricades they drop across the interstate. That's the only time that you would shut down. Or if you could, you would go around. You would pick your atlas up and you'd hear on the CB that the interstate was shut down for snow or wind or whatever. And you'd see if you could go around. But one thing you didn't do is not deliver the load on time. You got it there, the best of your abilities. And today it's a lot different. Safety is a priority, but I feel safe when others don't. I guess I'm getting long-winded on this, but you drive through Wyoming on Interstate 80 and the wind will feel like it's going to blow you over, and it has blown vehicles over. But with experience, you come to know that you got to slow down. You've got to know in inclement weather, ice, snow, that you take the cruise off, you have your foot on the accelerator, so you can accelerate out of a bad situation. It comes with experience. I don't have a problem driving in snow. I don't have a problem driving in ice. You just gotta slow down. I can drive just about any type of truck or car, for that matter, if shown or given a few minutes to tinker with it. I can figure it out. I've pulled oversized, I've pulled flatbeds, RGNs, step decks. I've picked up all kinds of equipment at ports, auctions, you name it. And some of this stuff is so old, and you got to load it yourself. You got to figure out, does this have a choke? Where's the brakes? The newer equipment's got certain safety features, the seat belts, it won't, so on and so forth. But, 18 speed, 13 speed, 10 speed. I prefer not to drive an automatic as preference. I know I'm saying a lot because I'm kind of nervous going through this. But let's see. What I think makes me a good truck driver is patience. I think a lot of it had to do with the guy I learned from. You got to have patience. You got to have common sense. You got to be able to read the road signs and act accordingly. A lot of truck drivers' stress can be avoided if they just had a little more patience. They read the road signs and they looked and planned their trip before they started off on it. So I guess I think that's what makes me a good truck driver. I like what I do. It's like I haven't worked a day in my life after I got out of the military. I mean, I'm my own boss, so to speak. As long as I pick up on time, deliver on time, I love it. And I'm a professional when it comes to doing my job. I would describe my personality as very outspoken, strong-minded, strong-willed. You give me the task and I can get it done type of person. I love to compete. I love to be number one. I'm from a generation where there were winners and losers, and I'm a winner. Simple. It's that simple. So, toughest thing about being a truck driver, which there's all different types. I didn't mention that there's all different types of truck drivers. Then you have your local drivers, you've got your over-the-road drivers, you've got your part-time drivers, you got drivers that physically touch everything that they load, delivering groceries to restaurants, which I've done that. You've got truck drivers that load equipment on and off trailers. You've got truck drivers that load their own trailers that deliver to like boxes to stores, to chemical tankers and automobiles, and you got all kinds of truck drivers, and they all have their good things and their bad things. But overall, the toughest thing about being a driver, and I know you're going to hear this probably from everybody, is the part about being away from your family. But to me, that's tough, but you can't do this for 20 years and think about that. I mean, it's what you do. That's not the job. The toughest part of the job about being a truck driver, I would have to say, is the people around you, the other truck drivers that park in no parking spots, that have no courtesy for their fellow drivers, that don't follow the signs given. It says truck use left lane, and they don't use the left lane. The truck drivers that park and block you in, so you get up early in the morning to leave, and you can't start your job because some knucklehead blocked you in. You know, the toughest part about being a truck driver is being able to negotiate all the knuckleheads around you, so to speak. I mean, you got to be safe. You got to be courteous. You should be respectful to your fellow truck drivers and to the general public. And but I mean, if you're talking about my job, that's the toughest thing about being a truck driver. Finding parking. I mean, I'm an over-the-road driver. You're asking me the toughest thing about my job today is different than what it was 20 years ago. Today, the toughest thing about my job is finding parking. It may be different if I was a local driver and home every night. Then the toughest thing about my job might be something different. But as an over-the-road driver, it's parking. And the other people around you that's making it your job difficult because they don't care. If you're just talking in general, the majority of the stuff you're going to hear, people are going to tell you being away from their family, being away from their pets or whatever. But I just give you a minute. I will, because I'm in my truck right now. I'm over the road. I've got I just come out of the mountains off a logging road in West Virginia. I've drove everywhere. I've drove in New York City. I've drove in Miami. I've drove in the mountains of West Virginia on a logging road, which I just come from. I actually got video of that. I've drove in California. I drove the beaches. I drove in the farms of Nebraska hauling peanuts. I'm up to the challenge. Whatever you got, I'm up for it. I'm 47 years old, and I'm up for it. Let me show you a little bit of my truck. This is what I got. So, this is, I'm at a truck stop. This is a Peterbilt. It's a 13 speed. There's my logbook. And, I'll let you see in the sleeper. It won't let me spin it. But anyway, here's my clothes. I got a refrigerator. I got a microwave down here on the other side. Microwave. Controls for the temperature. You know. And that's it. Up here's another bunk, but it's just me. My dirty clothes basket. Some clean clothes. My winter jacket. And my insulated coveralls. One thing about it, folks, if you're going to be an over-the-road driver, if you want to be an over-the-road driver, you've got to always make sure you carry clothes in your vehicle for all types of weather. I don't care what time of year it is. You got to have your winter clothes on the truck because you never know where you're going and you never know when you're going to run into snow or anything else. But that's me. I'm ready. I hope you pick me to be part of your show. And with that being said, I didn't mention that I do have a following on Facebook. I've got about 32,000 people following me from about 10 countries. It's growing about 1,000 people a week. I've had my page for about 5 years. I don't know if that interests you or whatever, but I'm in like, oh man, I just had a brain fart. Anyway, if you're interested in that, I can tell you about that as well. But I hope you pick me, and I hope you like my little video. Thanks.